Did you ever come across to a large tear on a liner pool that is located under the faceplate of the steps? How do you repair this kind of a leak? Is it even fixable? These are some questions you may ask. And yes, it is fixable, and I will show you how to repair this kind of leaks on such sensitive spots. Hi, my name is Chris Elias, and with this video I would like to show you my technique of repairing tears on the liner that are located under the faceplate of the steps. Before we even start any repair, we have to evaluate the damage have been done to the liner. First, we have to measure approximately the length of the tear. Then, we have to add at least 3 to 4 inches to the pads that will cover the tear, about half to 2 inches for each side. Larger than the surface area that the pad is covering, the safest the pad will be. Please also note that the larger the pads, more screws you have to remove from the faceplate. Try not to remove more than the half number of the screws at the same time, and don't let the faceplate for extensive period of time being detached from the steps, because there is possibility the liner gets stretched and to create a larger tear. I usually remove maximum 2 screws farther of the edge of the tear. After removing the cover of the faceplate, count how many screws you have to remove to cover the tear and what are the extra screws that you have to remove as well in order to secure the pads. You definitely don't want to cut the pads same size of the tear. The reason is that it's more likely to create openings at the edges of the pads due to constant pressure of the water to the liner on this sensitive spot. Also, a really important note is to be careful with your hardware tools that you will use to complete the job. You do not want to create more holes on the liner by mistake. Plan the repair on your head before you perform any repair. Make sure that you know where you will place the screws after you remove them so you don't lose them. I recommend to carefully place them on the top of the last step that is easily accessible and to prevent any hole on the liner due to the sharp edges of the screws. In this case, there are 6 screws between the tear. I will remove 2 more from the left side, and maybe I will loosen up the third one just a bit to give me enough opening for the pads. Since the tear is on the corner of the faceplate, I will remove the first one and loosen up the second one of the vertical plate for the same reason. I also recommend you to cut the pads before you remove the screws to decrease the amount of water loss and to prevent any further tear on the liner. Plan first and then act fast with calm moves and no hesitation. Apply the glue on the pads, but do not go crazy with the glue, and as I previously said, do not take too long to place the pads. Do not worry about the edges of the pads at this moment. The most important thing is to place the pads pretty straight with no curves or wrinkles. Then start placing the screws back to the faceplate. I personally prefer to create little holes on the pads with the help of a tiny screwdriver to the existing holes for the screws. Especially when the screws have no sharp edge, it helps you to place the screws better without dragging the pads into the hole. When you are placing the screws back to the faceplate, you have to start for the side that has the majority of the screws on it and adding them one by one. If you start from the right to left, in this case, the faceplate will create a small curve around the last screw that you will place and is more likely to damage the plate. Also, try not to tie the screws too hard. The faceplate is kind of sensitive and you can easily crack it or even break it. I will follow the same principle for the vertical side as well. After placing the screws back, I will add some extra glue to the edges of the pads to look nicer and to be more secure. Also, I always glue the top side of the pads on the steps, and the reason is to avoid any tiny opening between the steps and the faceplate. Here are some examples of tiny openings between the steps and the faceplate. So if you would like to support my work, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you find my content valuable, please consider liking it and sharing it. This encourages me to create more content and helps me to grow my channel. Also, please feel free to leave your questions or thoughts on the comment section. I'm always happy to read your feedback and answer your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and take care.